You don't have to be a brain surgeon to be a valuable person. You become valuable because of the knowledge that you have, and that doesn't mean you won't fail sometimes. The important thing is to keep trying. Ben Carson. Yo guys, what is going on? It is bright and early on this Monday, August 17th. It's going to be a little bit of a different episode. If you guys checked out our episode on Friday, it was our round 1 NBA playoff predictions. That video got a little bit long, so what we decided to do was cut that in half, and we have the remainder of the playoffs that we're going to be releasing right now. So this is actually a pre-recorded intro. Everything was shot on Friday, and hope you guys enjoy. We'll just keep it short here. All right, and I want to apologize for a lack of transition, but yeah, again, it was pre-recorded. That's just how it is. All right. Hope you guys enjoy.
Yeah, so now it gets kind of interesting because we have different picks. Some of us, I'm going to go back to the West real quick. So some of us, we all took the Lakers, but some of us took the Rockets, some of us took the Thunder. On the other thing, some of us took the Jazz, some of us took the Nuggets. So I think I'll jump ahead to my Western Conference Finals, and then we can all compare. So I have the Lakers beating the Rockets in 7, and then meeting the Mavs, who I still took. And then I think this is assuming they do beat the Clippers, which is what my bracket is looking like. They have that momentum. I'll take them over the Nuggets 4-2. That could be a fun series as well. But then I had the Lakers winning 4-2 on the Western side of things. And then I think the key takeaways here, some big upsets of the Mavs. I think the key here is Luka, of course, but then I think you have to keep in mind it's the depth of this roster on offense. These 3-and-D guys, they're going to be shooting at a high clip. So that's my assumption. And then I guess the other thing, the Rockets, I do have them playing well in a 7-game loss. I think some of the Lakers' issues on offense are going to hurt them here. So their defense is great, but the Rockets' offensive firepower is going to outweigh some of that. So, yeah, but I still have the Lakers in 7 and making it to the finals.
Yeah, so for my picks on the Western side of things, I first got the Lakers playing the Thunder in the Western Conference semis, and that one was a pretty easy one for me. I got the Lakers in 5 just because, they've been arguably the best team in the West the whole season. I just don't think the Thunder have enough weapons to match up with this team. And on the other side of things, I got the Clippers and the Nuggets. Now, I know everyone thinks, the Nuggets don't have much experience, but I think they'll make this close and they'll make this hard for the Clippers. But ultimately, I think the Clippers do prevail and win this series in 7. And then we got the awaited matchup this entire season, Lakers versus Clippers. Now, originally, I had taken the Clippers, but I had just made an audible around like 10 minutes ago and I took the Lakers instead. And it's because on my other side of things, I have a matchup that I think is like in the Eastern Conference that's really interesting. It's a old rivalry, and one I want to see kind of happen. And I feel like the Lakers are the Lakers have done better, I think, in the season series. Is it 3-1 or 2-2? I think it's 3-1. And watching those games, I'm not
sure.
I think LeBron will.
I think it's 2-2, but
yeah, there's been injuries and stuff. So
yeah, but I think in the end, LeBron steps up. And I kind of wanted to choose the Clippers. Why did I take the Lakers? You know what? It's fine. I'm sticking with the Lakers. Okay, 4-3. I think the Lakers make the finals in the West. Actually, I'm sorry, I can't do this. Clippers make the finals in the West. Okay, just forget anything I said about the Lakers.
All right, I think that the whole thing we can all agree on is just don't listen to those picks anymore. It's all you have no idea where you're going with, bro.
Dude,
we don't even
so
know
hard.
Which.
I think I can make the case that the K-Shop wanted to make, since we had pretty similar brackets anyways. I also had the Lakers playing the Thunder in the semifinals. I'm taking the Lakers in 5. I think by then the Lakers will be ready. They'll be pretty much at their top of their game, and I think the Thunder are going to be pretty bruised out from the Rockets series, which I think is just going to be a battle. So I think the Lakers will win in 5. I don't have that much faith in the Nuggets, to be honest with you. I have them playing the Clippers in the semifinals. I think the Clippers will win that one pretty easily in a 4-game sweep. I just think that Denver they're either gonna be a little bit hobbled with injuries, or they'll be trying to incorporate new pieces in the middle of the playoffs, which doesn't really help. It's not really great for any team. So I think ultimately the Clippers will win that easily, and then we get that big awaited matchup everyone's been waiting for, with the Clippers and the Lakers in the Western Conference semifinals. And I'm gonna take the Clippers in 7 games, and I'm sticking to it. Not gonna go back or forth.
Hey, same. Clippers in 7.
Yeah. I think we saw in the bubble. I thought it was a little concerning that the Lakers were struggling to beat the Clippers, even though they won ultimately, but the Clippers didn't have Lou Williams or Montrezl Harrell at that first game in the bubble. So I think when the Clippers are fully loaded, hopefully they'll be healthy, which is something they haven't been all season. And they'll prevail in a 7-game series, in which everyone's going to be waiting for. But Kawhi and Paul George, I'll take them. And their bench, their depth is really what's going to take them over the top, over LeBron and Anthony Davis, who I don't think really have too many reliable guys around them.
Yeah. And I was originally going to take, so I originally took the Clippers, then I said Lakers. But the reason I said Lakers the second time was just because I thought, how everyone's saying like they're struggling and all. But I would think that at this point in the playoffs, they'd eventually find their groove. But regardless, even if they found their groove and some players were stepping up, the Clippers just have a deeper team, right? They have more guys on the bench that make plays than the Lakers do.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so for
JR doesn't make plays.
Yo, how many plays does he make, man? Come on.
He's made plays, bro. He's made plays.
Some plays.
He's made some plays, bro. Dion actually makes plays.
Dion's Dion. Respect to Dion.
Dion and JR. All right, but
All right, bro.
for me, I had the Rockets being the Thunder, so my matchup was the Lakers v Rockets. I'm picking the Rockets in 6 for this one. There's one. I'll tell you why.
No, we would know.
I think that the Rockets, they've obviously been playing small ball, and I think the Lakers are gonna have to change the way they play. I think their strength is with their bigs. Their 3-headed monster of Anthony Davis leading, obviously, then JaVale and Dwight. Dwight coming off the bench. I think that JaVale and Dwight are going to be taken out of the equation just because it's going to be hard to keep them in the game when the pacing of the Rockets will allow them to get out on fast breaks before these big guys can come down the court. So I think it's going to be hard for the Lakers to adjust this defensively. And for those reasons, I'm going to go Rockets in 6.
Yeah, actually, I didn't think about this, but taking Dwight and JaVale out of the equation is big because that gets Dion more minutes. He'll get on the court. And I think that's where the Rockets' downfall is. Getting Dion on the court, getting Dion one-on-one matchups against James Harden.
JR
and JR. Don't forget JR.
JR.
Quinn Cook. Don't forget Quinn Cook. Maybe
Quinn
even Jared
Cook's a
Dudley.
baller.
Jared Dudley.
Trug, why are you trying to help the Lakers? Talk to the Lakers?
No, he respects him.
Oh, okay, respects them.
Yeah, I respect Jared. I think Jared Dudley is a great player, but
he's a great small
okay,
ball.
so for the next matchup, Utah v Clippers. I went Clippers in 4 just because I think they can clamp everyone on Utah quite easily. I think their experience will allow them to win this series without any problems. And for the finals or Western Conference Finals, I had Rockets, Clippers. I didn't think about this before, but the Clippers basically, in my opinion, are not going to have that many tough matchups going into the Western Conference Finals. And I originally picked Rockets, but just because of how fresh this Clippers team is going to be, how much depth they have, I'm going to go Clippers in 6. I know that might be surprising,
Wow.
It was
Yeah,
tough,
I thought.
decision,
Wow. I didn't expect you to change it up. Respect.
Yeah,
this Clippers
dude. I
team,
thought you were
this
still
Clippers
gonna
team
stay
is
delusional, but okay.
Wait,
yeah,
what?
but this
Sorry, I
Clippers team
zoned out
has
for
a
a second.
lot of I
Yeah,
picked Clippers, but
I'm glad
you
you've
know
come to
they
your
just have a lot.
senses.
They have a
Yeah.
lot of shooting bigs. You know, they have Jermichael Green, Patrick Patterson, just some great guys coming off that, and then Montrez obviously, but you know he doesn't have a developed three at this point. He has a decent mid range, but I just think that this Clippers team can match the small ball look from the Rockets, and for that reason, I'm going to take them in the Western Conference Finals.
I'm waiting for
That's
Chirag to
good.
say, wait, I got the Rockets in 4.
Dude,
No,
we're not all like you, though. We're not all like you.
I hope so too. I'm not as worried about you anymore, Chirag. It's good to see. Coming back to your senses.
And then I'm gonna quickly roll through the East. I know that this is a little more contentious than people would have expected. My picks are pretty straightforward. I know it's different with you guys. I think I actually changed this. I don't know where it is. I have the Bucks beating the Heat in 5. I didn't write that in, but I have the Bucks beating the Heat in 5. I think they match up pretty well. I think the Heat have good personnel, which is why I give them the one game. I like the Bam versus Giannis matchup. That's a switchable 5. Bam can honestly guard 3 through 5, and Giannis plays 3 through 5, so that'll be a good matchup. And I'm sure there's gonna be one game where that shooting is gonna lead them to a dub. Anyway, we'll go Bucks in 5, advancing to the NBA Finals. And then the other side of things, the Raptors versus Celtics is gonna be, in my opinion, if outside of the Lakers Clippers, which actually I did not even have as a matchup, I think this is going to be one of the more fun matchups. Celtics Raptors. Celtics definitely have that true superstar, offensive superstar in Jason Tatum, and the Raptors are more built around a group of guys: Siakam, Lowry, Van Vliet, just a whole fleet of guys, a whole Van Fleet of guys, if you will.
Good one. Good one. I like it.
Yeah.
Oh
Uh,
my god.
Okay, but I'll give the Raptors the win in 6. I think these teams match up really well, though. One of the themes of this whole playoffs is depth. Both of these teams have depth on both sides of the ball. I just do like the Raptors and how they've been playing. I think Nick Nurse is the best coach in the NBA, and I don't even think that's bold to say, but I'll take Nick Nurse beating the Celtics in 6. And then I do have the Bucks winning in 6. I think they just outmatch everyone, and they're the best team in the NBA outside of my finals pick. But yeah, they're insane. Everything that we've said about the Raptors can be said about the Bucks. They have the great coaching. Budenholzer is amazing. They've been in this spot the past few seasons. I think Giannis at this point is finally ready to take that next step into the finals.
And I mean, for me, I've got the Bucks and the Heat in the 1-4 matchup. Now, this matchup, I just don't think it's going to be close. I think the Bucks easily take this one. As Rohit said, they have great coaching. They just outmatch this team. I think the Heat take a game down 3-0. They take one game, but the Bucks ultimately win 4-1. Now, I think the more interesting series here is Celtics versus Raptors. Now, the reason I think this series is really interesting because both teams have, as Rohit said, they have great coaching, and I think they're really evenly matched. It's a real toss-up, actually, for me again, this one. I mean, I want to take the Raptors just because I really like watching the way the team plays, but I do think this young Celtics team finally takes another step in the right direction here with having Tatum, I think Kemba last year, I mean, I know they had Kyrie too, but I think Kemba has really, helped glue this team together as well. You got Hayward, you got Tatum, you got Kemba, and I think these guys actually take the series to 7 and win it in Game 7. And I would have liked to take the Raptors, but I would just say it's a toss-up here. Now, Celtics versus Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals. I kind of want to just see some crazy stuff happen. So I took the Celtics in 6. Maybe the Bucks are going to struggle. Chris Middleton doesn't step up, even if Giannis does. And Tatum just goes off, as well as Kemba and Jaylen Brown. But that's kind of what I want to see. And I think there's a chance of that happening. But I got the Celtics and the Lakers in the finals.
Yeah, I
Celtics and the
also
Clippers.
had.
Celtics and Clippers. My bad. Why do I keep saying Lakers? I'm sorry. Celtics and Clippers.
You're good. You're good. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I also had Milwaukee and Miami in that 1-4 matchup, and I'm also gonna say the Bucks are gonna win comfortably in 5. I think the other guys pretty much laid out all the reasons, so I won't go into that. The 2-3 matchup is also gonna be one of the best playoff series this year. I think it's got the potential of living up to what happened last year in the Eastern Conference semifinals between the Raptors and the 76ers with Kawhi hitting that insane shot at the end. I yeah, but I think the Boston prevails in 7 games. I really like both teams. Like I said earlier, I think the youth of Boston is gonna help them here, and to a certain extent, that also applies to Toronto. Um, um, Yeah, but I think this playoffs is when Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are gonna shine. They're gonna develop into superstars, and they're gonna be considered one of the top 2 dynamic duos in the NBA. And so that makes the finals or the Eastern Conference Finals Bucks versus Celtics. Uh, it's also I think it's a matchup of playoff series last year, but last year Boston had Kyrie Irving. I actually think that this Boston Celtics team is better without Kyrie Irving. That might be a hot take, but and I think that this new team is going to help them. Is gonna prevail over the Bucks in 6 games in this bubble format.
Yeah, so
Yep.
for me, I had Bucks Pacers. I had Bucks in 5. I'm not gonna talk about that too much. I think Bucks just overwhelmed the Pacers. But then for this Boston Toronto matchup, this is obviously one of the bigger ones, 2-3 matchup. I'm just gonna go Toronto in 7, mostly because I think that they play team defense really well, and I think Nick Nurse is able to, give a lot of different looks defensively. I remember last year in the finals they did a box and one defense, which is I just haven't
Oh
seen that
damn,
in
I
NBA
hated
finals.
that.
I saw the last time I saw it was probably like college basketball, which was it just I think they have a really unique team. I think they have a lot of guys to throw at Tatum, a lot of great perimeter defenders. Rondae Hollis Jefferson, OG. I think Kemba's going to be a huge hole defensively, and I think Toronto knows how to take advantage of that. So for that reason, I'm going to have a Eastern Conference Finals of Toronto and Bucks, and I'm going to go Toronto over the Bucks in 6. Once again, same as last year. I think their defense just will contain Giannis effectively. I think that guys like Marcus Gasol usually don't play that much in the regular season, but I think in playoffs they have a lot bigger impact, and they just have a lot more. They have a developed bench as well, and I think that Nick Nurse is gonna come out on top and outcoach the Bucks.
And also, before we quickly move on to the finals, the bench bigs, Chris Boucher, I just saw pretty much led them to a victory over the 76ers. So take it as you will, but they have a lot of good players on this team. But yeah, you're the only person who picked the Raptors. Good team, but I'll get back to my bracket here. The more conventional 1v1, literally 1v1. So I have the Lakers taking on the Bucks here. I have the Lakers finishing off in 7. Now, I don't think I would be a Lakers fan if I didn't pick the Lakers here. Right? That's just I that's my primary. So that's Exhibit A, right? So I'm a Lakers fan. Lakers are going to win the series. I will say, if there are any concerns with the Bucks, as good as they've been all season, they struggled coming into the bubble, and also obviously this was a long time ago, but they struggled coming into the bubble, and then they haven't really had that game. They haven't really cared, and the same thing can be said about the Lakers. But if you look at the Bucks schedule, a lot of the time they've been sitting Giannis the entire game, or he sat out like halves. Obviously, the Nets game was a big example of this, where Chris Middleton, Giannis, I think the Lopez's or some of those guys, they all sat out, and that made a difference. I'm not trying to use this as like a primary argument for why the Bucks are going to lose the series. Honestly, I didn't do a whole lot of analysis on this one just because it's the finals, but I'm picking the Lakers. But I think at this point, the Lakers have some momentum. They've come off some good series wins over the Rockets and the Mavs. We have playoff Braun, but I'll take the Lakers in 7 here, and I have Kuzma winning Finals MVP.
So I got the Clippers and the Celtics in the finals. Let's just ignore the thing right now. But okay, I got the Clippers and Celtics in the finals. And I do think the Clippers outmatched the Celtics here, and they just win this in 6. I wanted to take the Lakers so we could have Lakers Celtics, but as I said earlier, I just couldn't. I don't know. I just think the Clippers are better. But hey, you never know. I'm pretty confident that the Clippers have a good chance of making the finals. And I think if they play the Celtics, it's not going to be it's not going to go to 7, but I think the Celtics will take a couple of games here and there. So, and my finals MVP, my finals MVP is going to be Lou Will, just because we're being funny here. So I'm gonna take Lou Will.
Well, no, we can say our real MVPs. I would take LeBron.
I could see so Lou Will is my fun one, I guess, and then my real one would just be Kawhi.
Okay. Yeah. But I also did want to note. So you said you were pretty confident, and then in the middle of that sentence, you changed your tone and then said that they have a good chance of making the finals. So
my bad. Yeah, it's like let's not even. I mean, okay, Clippers in 6. It's over. Clippers in 6. It's over.
Yeah, I got the same finals matchup as Keshav, Clippers and Celtics. I'm also going to take the Clippers in 6 games, but I don't think it'll be too difficult. I think it'll be pretty comfortable, as comfortable as a 6-game series can be. I'm going to go back to their defense and their depth. That's going to help them prevail. I really wish the Celtics could win here. I really like the team, but I'm going to take my head over my heart on this one and take the Clippers. I'll take Kawhi Leonard as my funny MVP because I'm a fun guy, and he'll also be my real MVP too because let's be honest, he's the best player on the team.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so for my finals, I predicted it would be Toronto versus the Clippers. This is a very interesting matchup. Obviously, Kawhi decided to depart from Toronto last summer.
Yeah.
So I really wish, if this were the finals, I wish it would be, in the actual stadium, because it would be great to see all the booing, probably every possession in the first game. But
I don't know about
that. They'd boo him.
I don't think they'd boo him.
I think they'd boo him.
I don't know. I don't know about that. Dude, it's Toronto, bro. They're classy.
They're classy.
Yeah, I mean,
he won them a championship. Like,
what was the response the first game? Like when he came back to Toronto? I don't remember what happened.
I'm pretty sure they were cheering. I'm pretty sure they were.
Okay,
cheering.
I guess
I'm pretty sure they booed him.
It's fine. We've been talking.
That goes beyond the point, but I think that I think if this were a matchup, it would be really interesting to see how these teams respond because Toronto obviously has a big, deep bench, same as the Clippers, but the Clippers are pretty, they have some great superstars with PG and Kawhi. I think if this were the matchup, Toronto would try to contain Kawhi and it would allow PG to score a lot more points. And I'd have him, if for the Clippers win in 6, I'd have PG as my finals MVP. Playoff P, you know how he is.
So I guess we can quickly run through our finals again. So I had the Lakers winning, Keshav and Trog, and actually everyone else had the Clippers winning. I think the MVPs, so Trog, did you say Paul George?
Yeah, PG, playoff P.
Playoff P. All right, we got a couple Kawhis and then LeBron here. So I think once we got down to the finals, the East was a big question mark, and then the West, it was one of those 2 LA teams. Things will be interesting. We have the play-in game. When is that? The Grizzlies Blazers. When is the first one? Is it
It's
tomorrow?
tomorrow, I think. Tomorrow, yes.
Okay.
Saturday.
And then next one's
Tomorrow.
Sunday.
Got you. So that'll be big. I don't think that'll matter too much either way. They're gonna get swept or maybe drop a game or something to the Lakers, or drop a game on the Lakers. But I think that should just about do it. It has been a pleasure, Sarang.
Thank you,
Final words?
boys. Had a lot of fun making this podcast with y'all, and look forward to being back on in the future.
Yep, we can revisit this whenever the playoffs is over, and should be fun.
Sounds good.
That'll just about do it. The 12th episode of TTP. Peace.